UFO disclosure is happening so fast now, with video after video being released by the Pentagon or leaked, and the Senate report on UFOs hits this month. The report, although inconclusive, states that the videos depict craft that are not from the U.S. military. The moment they made that statement, everyone listening now should have begun to make some serious life choices. Because I hate to point out the obvious, but if it's not ours, then there is simply no way in hell they were manufactured on Earth. Besides, people like us know the long, dark, bloody history of the UFO cover-up. And surprised though we may be that disclosure is at least beginning to take place now, it is also quite obvious that they have chosen to whitewash the role of UFO investigators over the last 70 years, many of whom paid the ultimate price with their lives, attempting to bring the truth to the rest of humanity. I recently released a video on this channel about the unsolved murders of UFO investigators through the years. Take a look. I only mentioned a small number of those who paid with their lives. This cover-up has left many innocent people in its wake. Someone involved in the UFO cover-up sanctioned those murders. And Lou Elizondo recently admitted to seeing material on Majestic 12, but would not elaborate in the interview. Was this the body who ultimately is responsible for their deaths, or were aliens also involved? So I mention all of this to you because of those courageous individuals and their unrelenting, hard-won research. This research and the hidden knowledge within it has just recently opened whole new vistas of intelligence that resides in the absolute deepest recesses of all secrecy on this planet. When most people hear the term reptilian alien, even some hardened paranormal investigators, their eyes start to glaze over with pure disbelief. Others clearly know the reality of the situation, and as improbable as it may sound, what I have to tell you is completely true. My reports are culminated and collated out of all published material on any given subject that I'm investigating. What I do is called forensic investigation, and every possible piece of information is gone over again and again and again till the unseen connections begin to present themselves. The advantage to this is that I'm able to show you how and why these subjects matter to you in your life and in real time. The paranormal is the normal, just not yet understood by those who we deem scientists. On this video, I'm not going to bore you for hours quoting all the credible sources from which this information is derived. I'm simply just going to tell it to you straight. I'm going to lay it out for you to play it out, and what you do with that information is up to you. Keep one thing at the forefront of your mind during this report. The Pentagon has now officially admitted that UFOs are real and of completely unknown origin. What makes you think anything else is impossible? I thought about walking you guys through the complete lineage of knowledge of the reptilian aliens in modern UFO subculture, but what would be the point really, except for those interested in the details of history? So instead, I will just mention briefly the chain of custody, if you will, of the reptilian conspiracy as it is culminated today. Michael Barkan, professor of political science at Syracuse University, posits the idea of a reptilian conspiracy originated in the fiction of Conan the Barbarian, who was created by a writer named Robert E. Howard. The first appearance of the Serpent Men in literature was in Howard's story, The Shadow Kingdom, published in the magazine Weird Tales in August of 1929. This story drew on theosophical ideas of lost worlds of Atlantis and Lemuria, particularly Helen Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine, written in 1888, with its reference to dragon men who once had a mighty civilization on a Lemurian continent on Earth. Howard's serpent men were described as humanoids with human bodies and snakeheads who were able to imitate humans at will, and who lived in underground passages and used their shape-changing and mind control abilities to infiltrate humanity. Then, in the 1940s, a man named Maurice Doreal wrote a pamphlet entitled Mysteries of the Gobi that described a serpent race with bodies like a great snake and an ability to take human form. The reptilians also appeared in a poem Doreal wrote titled The Emerald Tablets, in which he referred to the Emerald Tablets as having been written by Thoth, an Atlantean priest king. Professor Barkan asserts that David Icke got his ideas about the reptilian aliens from those documented sources. Obviously, however, Professor Barkan is in grave error. But that is the accepted chain of custody for the reptilian conspiracy as far as the public records go. And I only included this information for the interested historians out there. But that's enough of the academic numbers. Now, I'm just going to tell you the way it is, and where humanity stands now in the face of this threat. I always encourage people to look up information for themselves. If you do, you will quickly realize that the information I provide in all of my videos is of the highest quality available. The truth is, no one knows where Howard got his information on the reptilians, but everything he wrote appears to be the truth. And Madame Blavatsky, well, she is considered by many to be the most knowledgeable occultist of all time. And she had access to manuscripts and ancient writings that we can only dream about today. Was Howard abducted? Was that how he knew the things he knew? The first documented abduction by reptilians occurred in 1969 in Nebraska to a police officer. Here's a picture of that man. In the alien abduction phenomenon itself, as it was studied over a 40-year period by Dr. John E. Mack, Dr. David M. Jacobs, Bud Hopkins, Whitley Strieber, Linda Howe, and many others. The reptilians don't show up very often, and there is only one simple reason for this. The reptilians do not bring their victims back. It plays out like this. I mentioned in one of my films titled Aliens in Antarctica Mystery Solved about the war between Mars and another planet. During this time period, the Martian civilization, whose inhabitants were humanish in appearance, were in a battle for their survival with a neighboring planet that was inhabited by a reptilian humanoid species. These reptilians also lived on the Earth at the same time and alongside the dinosaurs. As I discussed in that film, the Martians were able to completely destroy Nibiru, this neighboring planet, with a planet-killing weapon just before the destruction of their climate by the reptilians. Part of this war included both directed asteroids as well as combat weapons on the intelligent reptilians who were on the Earth. This destroyed the dinosaurs on the Earth and drove the reptilian aliens into underground bases where they have been ever since. In many ways, they do control humanity at this time. All indications are that they have mastered what Tesla called the secret of the universe: frequency, vibration, and sound. David Icke and many others believe that these aliens have infiltrated and control things like the music industry, frequency, vibration, and sound. And I know that that sounds crazy, and I might agree, except that a very famous rock star named Billy Corgan, the lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins, stated during an interview with Howard Stern that he saw someone he knew in the industry shapeshift into something that he would only say was not human. Stern asked him to elaborate, but he would not. Later, he was asked about it in a Rolling Stone interview and simply stated that it was the truth and that he would not talk about it any further. Many sources, however, from deep levels are saying these reptilians control everything and are able to do so either through a genetic ability to shapeshift, or as many have reported, they have a kind of holographic technology that we cannot see through. The motive for doing so and for keeping themselves concealed is because they no longer exist in large numbers, and if discovered, destruction would certainly follow. It appears that this is exactly going to be the case. Now, along with that is a much darker, wholly disgusting, and reviling reason. They feed off of us. To be specific, they have systematic torture machinery in their underground bases that will cause the human body to perfectly produce an enzyme in their bloodstream that is of endless value to the reptilians. 4 of the world's most accomplished remote viewers were tasked with targeting the largest Operation Reptilian base in the United States. These viewers also stated that at the deepest levels of Area 51 are indeed reptilian aliens working in conjunction with human scientists. The viewers also described a horror show of genetic experimentation going on there. The largest operating base in the U.S. was described by these 4 viewers during blind targeting. The features they describe are that above the base are town-like structures, buildings like office buildings, all shapes and sizes, but not over a large area. They describe the architecture as looking very bland and doesn't stand out at all. You would never suspect a base is beneath. The surrounding countryside to the base was described by all 4 as incredibly beautiful and scenic, and 2 even mentioned the phrase national park-like area. They viewed men in black at this location, and one of the men in black was phase shifting in and out from reptilian to men in black and back. There were MIB above and below in the base, and they sensed a heavy military presence at this location. It is unknown at what point the U.S. government or elements therein made a deal with the reptilians for some unknown reward, but it has been proposed that it was for technology. The viewers also saw people who had been abducted going through some sort of process where their appearance and identity were being changed, and then the reptilians were sending them back into the world for unknown purposes. This may provide valuable insight into how they have been able to maintain control over the human species. This base will be in a very mountainous and rural scenic area. The viewers are adamant that this base is in the U.S. and that it is operational right now. They described people in cages and then people going through systematic torture and horror in the most horrific ways imaginable. All the viewers came away a bit traumatized by what they saw. And even Cliff High over at Half Past Human, and the inventor of the WebBot, says in his reports, are telling him that this working relationship with the reptilians will become known during disclosure, and that there are very strong indications that preparations are being made, and I quote, to dig them out. Those are the clues to hunting the reptilians. Perhaps Google Earth will prove an invaluable tool in locating the base. But one thing is for sure, the base exists, and every year 1 million people go missing in the United States. Well, that's it for now, guys. I will be back very soon with another deep, dark mystery for us to explore. Please come on by and see me at the paranormalintelligenceagency.com website, and you will see the amazing reports that are there and nowhere else. And I will see you soon.